Hi, Walter. Hi, Walter. Good to see you. Shabbat Shalom.
Say, Jay, do people on the live stream see the people who are in Zoom? They, they, they see the sanctuary and they see me. Yeah, okay. Is the speaker on the monitor off? Okay. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai. Yai lai lai. Yai lai lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to everybody who's here in the sanctuary. Welcome to everybody who's online, whether you're with us in our Zoom room where we here in the sanctuary can see you online, or you're watching on our live stream. We're glad that you've joined us for Shabbat services this evening. And if you are online, I invite you to follow along in our service by going to our website and opening up the prayer book. You will find the prayer book on our website under virtual resources. You'll see a link for Mishkan Tefillah. And open that up to page 3. Our Shabbat candles will be lit this evening by Sarah Stiegel.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words that we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter the sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'hihyanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you, Sarah. Well, let's share some simchas. So simchas are good things that happen to you during the past week. And whether you're here in the sanctuary or online, we invite you to share a simcha. So anybody in this room have a simcha that you would like to share with us, Tzahala? Oh, you know what? I think, you know what? I'm going to move out in front. We'll turn the speaker on. Everybody can hear. So I don't know if that was on. So let's do it. Will you let people know again? Just tell people. What was that?
My older daughter got engaged.
Awesome. Okay.
I went to Palm Desert to see my son run in the Indian Wells Triathlon, and he completed it. And while he was completing it, and I was watching the finish line, I saw Janice Flansbaum and Samantha Flansbaum, and they did it. I guess Samantha did the whole thing. Joss competed in the swimming and biking, and Janice did the running, and my son did all three.
Wow. I got my years.
Well, looking forward to see what you put in there, okay? That'll be fun. Yeah. Opportunity for a gift, I think. Other simchas? And those of you on Zoom, anybody have a simcha you would like to share? Okay.
This evening, I come to the end of my review of the Psalms that make up Kabbalat Shabbat, with Psalm 93, which you'll find on page 23. And just a few words about this psalm. This is God depicted in the most powerful nature terms, a truly ancient and mythological depiction. If you look in the middle of the psalm, God is mightier than the oceans. The image is one in which everything, the oceans, everything is thrashing about. The oceans are furious, but God is steady and unshaken. And as the poetry of myth, it really doesn't get any better than this. Interestingly, there is nothing about Israel in the psalm, nor is there any mention of justice. Here, like we've seen previously, we encounter a psalm probably borrowed from Canaanite poetry, substituting God's name for that of Baal. Even so, we are struck by the dignity in the psalm. God, it says, is seated on the throne. The earth is ruled by God, and everything is ready for Shabbat. This psalm was understood as the prelude to Shabbat worship, precisely because we are reassured by the constancy of God. These days, it may not feel like things are so secure. Perhaps our ancestors felt the same way, and by reciting the psalm, they could affirm a faith that all that is troubled and dystopian in nature will ultimately be conquered. And by saying these words, we can give expression to that same hope that our ancestors had. Adonai is sovereign. God is robed in grandeur. Adonai is robed. God is girded with strength. The world stands firm. It cannot be shaken. Your throne stands firm from of old. From eternity you have existed. Let's read together. The ocean sounds, Adonai. The ocean sounds its thunder. The ocean sounds its pounding. Above the thunder of the mighty waters, more majestic than the breakers of the sea, is Adonai, majestic on high. Your decrees are indeed enduring. Holiness befits your house, Adonai, for all times. Page 24. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem Shalom, Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 26, 28, must be 20. What is it? Let's see. Yeah, page 26. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah be'alma divrachirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael Bagala, Bagala, Uvisman Karim, Vimeru, Amen. Yehesh meraba mevorach, leolam ulol me'al maya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, Shemei Kudisha, Brichu, Le'ela, V'kol Berchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, Damiran be'alma, V'meru, Amen. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed. You may be seated. We're going to do a setting for Ma'ariv HaRavim that's in the songbook. So if you have the songbook, please turn to page 24. Blessed is the one who makes the evening fall. Blessed is the Spirit who guides us all. Blessed is the one who makes the evening fall. Blessed is the Spirit who guides us all. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'ma'ariv Arabim. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'ma'ariv Arabim. Shekhinah, Shekhinah, Shekhinah. Blessed is the one who makes the evening fall. Blessed is the Spirit who guides us all. Blessed is the one who makes the evening fall. Blessed is the Spirit who guides us all. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'ma'ariv Arabim. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'ma'ariv Arabim. Shekhinah, Shekhinah, Shekhinah. Back in the prayer book on page 32. Let's read together in the English. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Page 34. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kivod, Kivod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivod, Kivod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Page 36. Lie, lie, yai, lie, 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 yai, lie, 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 yai, lie, 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 yai, lie, 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 yai, lie, 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 yai, lie, 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 lie. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי, לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי. והיו הדברים, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי בצווך היום על לבביך. לי לי יאי לי לי לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי, לי לי לי, יאי לי לי לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי. Page 39. Let's read together. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Page 40. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ma'eli madonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefelet, nora tehilot osefelet. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Mi chamocha ma'eli madonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefelet, nora tehilot osefelet. Page 42. Again, let's read together. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace, and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, and for your name's sake be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, va'al Yerushalayim. Page 45. Thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind, joy in the trees. Shabbat has arrived in the world, scattering song, silence of the night, and eternity utters a day. 46. I invite you to rise for the Amidah. Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Svatai Tivtach. Na 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 Ufi Yagid. Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei hakol, v'zocher chastei avot v'imahot, u'mevii gula lifnei v'neihem, lemad shemo b'yahava, melech ozer u'moshia u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, magen Avraham v'ezrat Sarah, atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atah rav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach, umorid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Micha mocha bal gevurot, umido melach, melech meimid, umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atalachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol, atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalalu chasela, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. You may be seated. We continue on page 55. Please read with me. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 57. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble and pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'odcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. Modim, the prayer on page 58, has a setting that we're going to sing that selects sections of this prayer. And so we're going to share it on the screen so that you can follow the particular order of the words in this version by Debbie Friedman. ניסיך שבכל יום. ערב הבוקר וצהריים מעולם קיווינו לך, מעולם קיווינו לך. הטוב כי לא חל רחמך, והרחם כי לא תמו חסדיך. מעולם קיווינו לך, מעולם קיווינו לך. ועל ניסיך שבכל ערב הבוקר וצהריים מעולם קיווינו לך, מעולם קיווינו לך. הטוב כי לא חלו רחמך, והרחם כי לא תמו חסדיך. מעולם קיווינו לך, מעולם קיווינו לך. מעולם קיווינו לך, מעולם קיווינו לך. Page 61. Please read with me. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. You could find words for silent prayer on pages 62 and 63. At this time in our worship, we ask for healing for members of our congregation and their loved ones who are ill. If you are praying for healing of body or healing of spirit for a loved one, I invite you to recite that person's name out loud as my eyes pass yours, first here in the sanctuary and then for those who are online in Zoom.
Then Michelle. Kim and Bryce.
Robert Swarthout.
Janice Moore.
those whose names we have
said
set
out
out.
loud, we add those whom we hold in our hearts. We say, Baruch Atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim. We praise you, God, the source of healing. And let us say, Amen. You could find the words for Misha Berach on page 253. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. For many people, we have embarked upon the season of giving. And according to a famous Jew, it is better to give than to receive. Perhaps no other season of the year brings into sharper focus the tension between wealth and poverty, between those who have the resources to give generously and those with the need to receive simply to maintain their dignity. And while Jesus was rightfully concerned about the obligations of one toward the other, that concern is rooted in Tanakh, in the Jewish Bible. And the biblical text that pays more attention to wealth and poverty than any other is the book of Proverbs. Now, we don't know Proverbs as well as we know many other biblical books, since it does not come up in Parshat HaShavua, our weekly Bible readings, and it is not a book read on one of the Jewish holidays. People are, of course, familiar with some better-known quotes from Proverbs, such as, "Pride goes before a fall," or, "It is a tree of life to those who hold fast to it, and all who cling to it find happiness," which, in the context of the book of Proverbs, refers not to the Torah, but to wisdom itself. The thing is, Proverbs is not a unified text. It is a collection of sayings, and there is little attempt in the book to reconcile conflicting points of view. Proverbs routinely regards wealth as the presumed outcome of hard work, ignoring economic structures that prevent individuals from being able to improve their circumstances. On the other hand, Proverbs articulates a moral standard of sharing one's wealth. One who oppresses a poor person insults his maker, it says, but one who is kind to a poor person honors God. This is part of an attitude that extends beyond monetary relations to compassion itself. There is a recognition that those with wealth are susceptible to arrogance. Another proverb reads, "As for the mockers, God mocks them, but for the humble, God gives favor." Of course, it is hard to know what to make of this. If one was poor, a little bit of wealth would likely be appreciated more than God's favor. The implication is, poor as you may be, God regards you as more deserving than those who show you disdain. But in the real world, that is small comfort. It appears that Proverbs lacks some of the fiery sense of injustice that characterizes prophetic literature. Rather, it follows a kind of mechanical thesis. Hard work leads to wealth, while laziness leads to suffering. There isn't much sense that people sometimes wind up in poverty because the deck is stacked against them. That outrage against a corrupt society that takes advantage of the powerless is characteristic of the early prophets like Amos, Isaiah, and Micah. Proverbs stands at a certain remove from such critical points of view, preferring to focus on personal responsibility, even when the resulting perspective starts to look a lot like blaming the victim. For example, one proverb holds that negligent hands cause poverty, but diligent hands enrich. This aspect of Proverbs functions as a kind of manual of moral instruction, warning against self-destructive behaviors. A favorite proverb in this vein is, "Lazy bones, go to the ant, study its ways and learn. Without leaders, officers, or rulers, it lays up its stores in the summer, gathers in its food at the harvest." My personal favorite in this style of moral instruction is this quote, "Do not be of those who guzzle wine or glut themselves on meat, for guzzlers and gluttons will be impoverished, and drowsing will clothe you in tatters." What I particularly like about that is what I regard as the subtext. That is, I detect just a touch of envy on the part of the author, who might wish that he had enough wine and meat that just once in a while he could guzzle and gorge himself, just not too much, of course. The inverse of the guzzler and the glutton paradigm is also part of Proverbs. If one is generous to the poor, one will in turn be enriched. Hence we read, "A generous person will grow fat," which presumably is a good thing since it means they're not hungry. "One who quenches another's thirst, his own thirst will be quenched." The author does not seem troubled to explain exactly how this is going to happen. The aphorism seems to operate in a moral dimension divorced from the real world. Rabbi Neil Gold, my colleague and a great writer, explains the distinction between Proverbs and the prophets like this. The attitude of Proverbs might be summed up as, "Poverty stinks, so don't let it happen to you," which is a significantly different ethical posture from the prophets, which is, "Poverty stinks, so don't let it happen to your neighbor." This tension within biblical texts continues into the later books of the Bible, Job and Ecclesiastes, which both offer a critique of the mechanistic perspective of Proverbs. That is, that everyone gets what they deserve. That tension has never really disappeared in religious discourse. There are plenty of people today who believe in a kind of divinely ordained fate for those at the bottom of the socioeconomic ladder, or themselves being financially burdened, choose to believe that some villainous other is standing in the way of what is theirs, since, after all, God operates in a predictable reward and punishment fashion. So there must be an adversary, sometimes the Jews, sometimes immigrants, who are preventing the divine equation from succeeding. Others look to systemic causes of intergenerational poverty, whether it is the way that inherited wealth can always give an advantage in education or access, or the way that institutions with economic interests can draw the lines in such a way as to keep minorities disadvantaged, from business loans to real estate redlining. Jews have known these prejudices all too well. When we forget them, it is to our own discredit. The Bible is not always a corrective to societal problems. Sometimes it reflects the tensions within society itself. If anything, it can serve as a mirror to our own world, a way to reconsider our assumptions. Do we reward generosity with honor? Or do we see need as an indication of personal failure? Many of us are now doing end-of-year donations. We don't sit back and assume that God will favor the humble. Instead, we are God's agents. If Proverbs speaks in conflicting points of view, I will cast my lot with this verse. Happy is the one who is gracious to the poor. Well, let's find out what's going on in our congregation in coming days. Tzahala David, who is our events committee chairperson, will tell us what's coming up. Tzahala.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and thank you very much, Rabbi Mulder, for leading us in worship. I would also like to thank our tech experts for doing the behind-the-scenes work for this service to be live-streamed. Jay. Torah study is on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Please join us in person or on Zoom. Upcoming programs. Our children's choir will be performing on our December 17th Family Shabbat service. You don't want to miss it. Our adult choir begins rehearsals on December 16th. Learn Torah Blessings, Sunday, December 12th. This 1-hour in-person workshop will teach you how to chant the Torah blessings for an aliyah or a bar bat mitzvah. Jewish name ceremonies on December 24th. On Friday, we will have a ceremony for Jewish congregants who wish to adopt a Hebrew name. The annual holiday food drive, CBE is joining other congregations in the Bay Area in supporting the Alameda County Food Bank. A donation of $36 provides 72 meals, and your donation will be matched by the Corette Foundation. Camp registration is open. You can register to Camp Newman or to the URJ 6 Points West, which features science, tech, and arts programs. Links to all the information and Zoom links to the services can be found in the most recent Once Around Bet Emek newsletter. Thank you so much, and Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Tzahala. Our service continues now with Aleinu on page 282. Please rise. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב עיקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עזו בגובה מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אינו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, הקדוש ברוך הוא. You may be seated. Let's continue on page 287, and let's read together. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding, loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech kol haaretz bayom hahu, bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad, bayom hahu, bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, u'shemo echad, u'shemo echad. Judaism teaches us the sacred duty of memory. On this Shabbat, we remember those members of our congregation and their loved ones who have died within the past 30 days. We observe Shloshim for Irvin Barron and Beverly Lemon Williams. And we remember those whose yahrzeit occurred during the past week. I invite those who are observing yahrzeit for the following to rise as I recite their names. We observe yahrzeit for Samuel Gladstone, Jim Martin, Shelley Nyman, Gladys Shapiro, William Stiegel, Marcella Strickoff, Seymour Uranowitz, Victor Charles Walling, Jr. And I invite all those who are observing the first year of mourning to rise at this time. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be a blessing. We rise as one congregation, united by memory and compassion, to praise God's name. Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, ba'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayed achol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mivarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. v'et hadar, v'et aleh, v'et halal, shemed kudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechamata, da'amiron ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn, and comfort to all who are bereaved. Let us say together, amen. Please be seated. Following our closing song, we have a treat of Oneg Shabbat. Thank you to Deb Strickoff, who's observing yard site for your father and Gary's father. You have graciously, even though you're not here with us in the room, we're all going to get to enjoy a take-home goodie bag. Look at this. This is gorgeous. Look at how beautiful these are. We all get Oneg Shabbat to take home with us to enjoy. And so thank you very much for doing that. Our closing song, so we'll do Kiddush and Motzi at the end of, after a closing song. Our closing song's Adon Olam on page 321. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'et Nasa B'chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kiklot HaKol Levado Yimloch Torah Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Hoveh Ve'hu Yeh B'tifara Adonai below Ira, below Ira. Well, let's join together in Kiddush, and if you'd like to find words, they're on page 5. I actually brought up my own cup. I've got one. Oh, look at that. Yeah, but let's put the challah down there. There we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shapat kodsho b'yahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reheshit, ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh, zecher l'tziyat mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta, v'yotanu kidashta, mikol hamim, v'shabat kodshecha, v'yahava uvratzon hinchaltanu, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-shabbat. L'chaim. And for Motzi, Chala, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom, v'te'avon. Thank you. Shabbat shalom, everybody.